Have you ever cleaned out an old drawer and found a worn-out shirt you've kept for years? Not because you still wear it, but because you just couldn't bring yourself to let it go. And then one day, you fold it gently, place it in a donation bag, and suddenly, your heart feels just a little bit lighter. We carry things like that in our minds too. Regrets, old relationships that no longer feel healthy, or the lingering weight of resentment we've never fully unpacked. We hold on, thinking we should. After 60, we don't just move through time. We move through losses, through changes, through silent goodbyes we didn't always choose. And sometimes, finding peace isn't about adding more to our lives. It's about carrying less. Less regret. Fewer people who no longer fit into our journey. Less of the sadness we've labeled as just part of life. No one really teaches us how to let go. But life, gently, quietly, reminds us in small ways every day. You don't have to hold on to everything. You deserve a chapter that feels light. So, what are the emotional weights worth setting down, so the years ahead don't feel so heavy? Today, let's take a moment to reflect, not to blame ourselves, but to forgive ourselves. Not to shut anyone out, but to return to our own hearts. Join me as we explore 5 emotional habits worth letting go, so you can live lighter, laugh more, and finally feel at peace. Shall we begin? Regret is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but gets you nowhere. One quiet afternoon, 74-year-old Helen sat by her window, holding an old letter in her hands. It was an apology, one she had written decades ago for a childhood friend, a friend she never got to say goodbye to after falling out. That letter was never sent. "I kept telling myself I'd send it later," she said. But the years slipped by. Her friend passed away, and the guilt, it stayed. We all carry a letter never sent. A moment we didn't speak up, a dream we didn't chase, a path we didn't take. Regret, if held too tightly, becomes a chain. It keeps us stuck in the what-ifs, blind to the beauty of what is. But here's the truth. It's not about the mistake itself. It's about what you learned from it. Take a moment and reflect on a regret in your life. Can you go back and change it? If the answer is no, then the only thing you can change is how you carry it. Think of regret like a scar. It may have hurt when it first appeared, but over time, it becomes proof of what you've survived and how strong you've become. Regret, if you let it, can be a quiet teacher. It can show you how to appreciate the present, how to live with more depth, more kindness, more intention. So instead of asking, "Why did I do that?" try asking, "What did that teach me?" And instead of telling the story of what you lost, tell the story of how you grew. Because that's the most beautiful part. And once you've learned to be gentle with yourself, the next step is learning to be gentle with others, especially in relationships where you've given all you could. And now, it's time to let go. Let's move forward together into part 2. Letting go of draining relationships, making space for those who uplift you. You don't need a garden full of people, just a few who help you bloom. Walter, now 76, used to be the most well-known man on the block. Everyone knew him, and he knew everyone. But as the years went by, Walter began to notice something. After each social gathering, he felt drained. Not because of age, but because the conversations had changed. They were filled with complaints, comparisons, and quiet criticism. One day, he confided in his grandson, "Grandpa, if it doesn't make you happy anymore, why do you still go?" Walter was quiet for a moment, then sighed. "Because I'm used to it. And honestly, I'm afraid that if I stop showing up, I'll have no one left." It's hard to let go of relationships that once meant so much, but sometimes what wears us down isn't the passage of time, it's the effort of pretending. There are friends who, though once deeply connected, now only bring a weight of negativity. There are family members by blood who leave you feeling small, judged, or like you have to shrink yourself just to stay in the room. Stepping away isn't selfish. It's a quiet act of self-respect. Think of your soul as a garden. Some people are flowers. They help you bloom. Others are weeds, not because they're trying to hurt you, but because their presence crowds out your light, your growth, your peace. You can't tend to everything, but you can choose what's worth your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Take a day. Reflect on the relationships in your life. Sparkles, who helps you feel like your true self, and who makes you feel like you have to perform just to be accepted. Keep the people who help you grow, not the ones who keep reminding you of who you were or where you've fallen short. And once you've cleared the garden of your soul from the relationships that no longer serve you, you'll start to feel a quiet relief. But there's something else, more hidden, deeper, that needs letting go too. The old resentment you've never put into words. Let's move into part 3. Letting go of resentment, freeing your heart to feel again. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to suffer. Clara is 81 years old. Everyone who meets her says the same thing. She's always smiling, so calm, so gentle. But behind that gentle smile is a quiet corner of her heart that's never had a name. When Clara was 49, her closest friend, the one she trusted more than anyone, betrayed her in a business deal. No apology, no explanation, just silence. Since then, Clara has never spoken about that person again. But the crack left behind? It never fully healed. Whenever someone mentions trust or betrayal, she smiles politely. But if you look closely, you'd see her hand clench ever so slightly. You see, resentment doesn't always shout. Most of the time, it whispers. And we get so used to the whisper, we stop noticing it's even there. You might tell yourself, maybe holding on to the pain keeps me guarded, keeps me from getting hurt again. But the truth is, holding on to anger for too long keeps you stuck in the past, robs you of the joy that's waiting in the present. Imagine this. You're holding a burning coal, waiting to throw it at the person who hurt you. But they're no longer close. And you're the one getting burned. So, how do you let go of resentment? Step 1. Acknowledge the hurt. Don't bury it. Write it down. Say out loud, I was hurt, but I refuse to let this pain define me anymore. Step 2. Choose to forgive. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Step 3. Transform the pain into strength. What did the experience teach you? How did it make you wiser, tougher, more compassionate? Clara never went searching for that old friend to demand answers. Instead, she sat by her window one evening. She wrote a letter she never intended to send, folded it, and placed it in a drawer. I forgave, she said, not because they apologized, but because I wanted peace for the years I have left. A heart that forgives is a heart that clears space for joy to enter. And once you've released those old wounds, you'll begin to feel lighter, brighter, more you than ever before. Now, it's time to explore something even more subtle, a quiet habit that slowly disconnects us from ourselves. Let's move forward to part 4, letting go of self-criticism, the kindness you owe yourself. You've survived everything you didn't think you could. That deserves a little grace. Gerald, now 73, has always been the quiet rock of his family. He worked hard, provided for his children, and never once complained. But every time his kids or grandkids thanked him for all he'd done, he'd just shake his head. Oh, it was nothing. I should have done better. No one ever blamed him, but Gerald couldn't stop blaming himself. Self-criticism is a subtle habit. It doesn't shout like anger or sadness. It whispers, soft, persistent thoughts like, I messed up too many times. I should have done it differently. If only I had. Here's the hard question. After living through decades of life, why do we so often remember the moments we fell short, instead of the times we gave it our all? Forgiving others is difficult, but forgiving yourself? That's often the hardest of all. And yet, you need to understand this. Self-blame doesn't make you better. It only makes you forget the compassion you so freely gave to others is something you deserve too. So, how do you let go of self-criticism? Step 1. Pay attention to the way you talk to yourself. If it's something you'd never say to a close friend, don't say it to yourself either. Step 2. Write down 3 things you've made it through in your life. If you kept going when it was tough, that alone is proof of your strength. Step 3. Replace the phrase, I should have, with I did the best I could with what I had. That's not an excuse. That's the truth. Later in life, Gerald began to change. He stopped saying, I've made too many mistakes. Instead, he told his granddaughter, I'm not perfect, but I'm still learning. even at my age. And you know what? She smiled brightly and wrapped her arms around him in the longest hug. Because when you stop tearing yourself down, you open the door to loving yourself the way you've always loved others, with grace, with kindness, with patience. Now that you've learned how to release the weight of the past and stop turning inward with pain, there's one final piece to finding true peace: choosing who you allow to walk this journey with you. Let's step into the final part. 5. Letting go of draining relationships, choosing peace over pressure. Not everyone you start with is meant to walk with you till the end, and that's okay. Helen, now 76, once had a best friend she'd known for over 40 years. They shared everything, from the struggles of single motherhood to quiet weekend tea chats that felt like tradition. But in recent years, every time Helen returned home from seeing her, she felt exhausted. The visits had changed. Her friend constantly complained, criticized everything, and stopped listening altogether. At first, Helen told herself, "Well, we've been friends for so long. I guess I can put up with it." But one afternoon, riding home in silence, she asked herself, "Why am I holding on to a relationship that leaves me feeling small and sad?" When we're younger, we try to keep every friendship alive. We believe it's a sign of loyalty, of being a good person. But when you reach your 60s, 70s, you earn the right to choose differently. And sometimes, letting go of an old friendship isn't failure, it's growth. Draining relationships often don't scream. They whisper. They make you feel like you constantly have to prove yourself. They guilt you when you don't do things their way. And after each conversation, you feel more worn down than lifted up. You don't need a dramatic goodbye. You don't need to slam any doors. Sometimes, it's just pulling back a little, spending less time, letting go of the expectation to always show up. And what do you do with that space? You use it to talk with a neighbor who always greets you with a warm smile. You use it to call your grandchild studying out of state and hear about their latest adventure. You use it to reconnect with the version of yourself you may have forgotten for a while. Helen didn't cut ties. She didn't place blame. She simply chose to show up less and spend more time with people who made her laugh instead of sigh. You're not selfish for protecting your peace. You're simply telling yourself, "I've come far enough to know who walks beside me with love, not just out of habit or obligation." As we journey through the later chapters of life, we begin to understand a truth we may have missed in our younger years. Peace isn't something we chase, it's something we create. And often, the first step to peace isn't adding more to our lives. It's letting go of what no longer serves us. Letting go of regrets doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means choosing to honor the lessons without carrying the pain. Letting go of draining relationships doesn't mean closing your heart. It means making space for joy, connection, and mutual respect. Letting go of resentment isn't weakness. It's courage in its purest form. The courage to forgive, to move on, and to free yourself. Personally, I believe we all reach a point when we realize that the most powerful thing we can say is, "I deserve peace, and I choose it today." If you're reading this and something resonated with you, maybe an old hurt, a relationship that feels heavy, or a past moment you can't quite let go of, this is your sign. You don't have to carry it anymore. You are not your regrets. You are not your pain. You are everything you've learned, survived, and become because of them. So today, choose to travel lighter. Choose clarity over clutter. Choose peace over pressure. Because the best version of your life, the most peaceful, joyful, meaningful version, begins when you do. Underscore 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 underscore. If this message spoke to you, please consider giving this video a like. Leave a comment below, sharing what you're letting go of, and subscribe to Candle of Wisdom. Your support helps us continue creating heartfelt content that uplifts and encourages. Let's keep walking this journey together with grace, wisdom, and a little more lightness every day.